Hey, and welcome to The Solid Verbal. Now would be a perfect time to consider subscribing. Yeah, that little subscribe button for year-round premium college football content. That's it. Here's the video. Enjoy. Subscribe. Could this be a year where running backs return to stardom? There seems to be a lot of great possibilities. And he mentions, or she mentions, I don't know. The Blessed Lewis is blessed. I don't know anything about this person. Jahmyr Gibbs at Alabama, Braylon Allen at Wisconsin, Mo Ibrahim at Minnesota, Sean Tucker, Syracuse, Ulysses Bentley at Ole Miss, Tank Bigsby, Bijan Robinson, like he mentioned Rasheen Ali, like he's going on and on, and he or she or whoever. Jarek Broussard, Michigan State, the transfer. Trey Henderson, your guy at Ohio State.
Boy, love me some Trey.
So I don't want to position this Heisman wise, but I want to say, could we re-enter into an era in which the running backs are the true stars, hearkening back to, and I'm going to mention both NFL and college football, like a Barry Sanders and Eddie George, where these guys were just everything. Bo Jackson, like it didn't matter who Jay Schrader was because friggin' Bo Jackson was in the backfield. And these were looked at as the superheroes, and they're not anymore in that same way. Do you think it is because of a broader understanding of so many positions and their value, or do you just think it's because it's been devalued in the NFL and that trickles down with the draft? Like,
I do.
What do we need to have a superstar running back in 2022?
Well, I mean, are we talking about at the NFL level, or are we talking about the college level?
College football, that we have somebody who, like what Reggie Bush was in 2004 or 5 kind of thing.
Sure.
What would it take?
Well, I mean, the couple layers to this. First off, the NFL running back situation, the way that running backs are drafted into the league, has totally devalued the running back position, or at least the perception of the running back position.
Yeah,
it is a position at the next level. It tends to burn out very quickly. I forget what the average age of retirement is for running backs, or when they eventually stop being starting running backs or getting carries, but it's a relatively short shelf life. So I do understand not wanting to invest a ton of money on that level for a guy who's going to burn out very quickly. I get it. To some extent, I think that's trickled down into college football, but not nearly to the same extent as it does the pro level, because you can still have a guy at the running back position who can take over the football game.
Right.
And there are a lot of great names here. I don't know if I'm quite putting Jarek Broussard in that conversation.
Well, we'll see.
But I do think there's a ton of potential if you've got enough support around a guy like a Bijan Robinson to potentially step in and become that superstar. Trey Henderson, I love Trey Henderson. I love him. Ohio State has a stable of running backs that could also rise to that level. But I think the point for him, specifically Henderson, is that he's got enough beef around him on the offensive line, as well as enough of a cavalry out wide that can help him kind of, give him the support that he needs to step into some of that superstar, some of those superstar roles. Yeah. So I'm very pro Trey Henderson, very pro Bijan Robinson in terms of becoming like the superstar, like the Reggie Bush type.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, Reggie Bush was unique in that he returned kicks. You could split him out wide.
Yeah.
You could give him the ball, and pretty much every time you did, there was that home run threat.
Yep.
That's what set him apart. Are any of those guys on college rosters this year? Maybe Trey Henderson. I don't know if he's returning kicks, but I do think he's got that big play ability. Maybe Bijan Robinson. Maybe Jahmyr Gibbs. I think Jahmyr Gibbs is going to get a lot of steam. I don't know if there is that superstar level hype though for any of these guys, and that's where it falls short.
I think it's multi-pronged. I think the multi-prong of it is it's very difficult to break through, especially when we're dealing with backs by committee more and more.
Yeah,
that the offenses are not built around a workhorse running back, and so you're just not going to hear a name 30 times a game. So and so for 6, so and so for 11, so and so for 4. And that makes it more difficult. The repetition of seeing a guy carry an offense is difficult. 2, defenses are just better. It's just harder to shine as a running back. Defensive coordinators are savvier. Defenses are better. Middle linebackers seem like they're 1,000 times faster and more fierce than they were when
linebackers are bigger running backs at this point.
Yeah. And so it's just more difficult to play the position. I think you need to have a couple of things going for you. I think you need to have a signature game in a huge moment. I think if you're Trey Henderson, if you're Bijan Robinson needs to rush for 245 against Alabama and probably, catch 63 yards worth of passes and have a moment where he hurdles somebody like Saquon Barkley did. It takes specific, especially in 2022, TikTokable, Instagrammable, tweetable moments, right? That it's so much easier for quarterbacks. And the other thing that quarterbacks have as an advantage is there's not that many great ones anymore. It's more difficult than ever to play and shine as a quarterback. So the ones who do are put up on an especially high pedestal. Whereas a lot of teams have good running backs, maybe not great running backs, maybe not like season defining talent running backs. Like Bryce Love was awesome. Do you ever think about Bryce Love?
No.
And he was going for 200 a game and busting out 83-yard runs, but he was doing it within the conceit of the Stanford offense. He was following the right blocker. He was hitting the right lane, and he had jet speed. He was great, but he wasn't catching balls out of the backfield. He wasn't returning kicks in the way that Reggie Bush was, and he wasn't himself a personality. I think that's the thing. There has been a de-emphasis on traditional running back play, but I think using a running back creatively is more important than ever.
Well, it is. And to the point of Reggie Bush was in his heyday in 2005?
Mm-hmm.
Go back and watch that game. I've done it. It is a completely different era of football. Completely different era. And I'm talking about the best teams of that era still by today's standards are far more unathletic than you might expect.
Yeah.
It's like going back and watching an old movie. It really doesn't hold up in the same way.
Mm-hmm.
It just doesn't. It's a different era of football. So Reggie Bush was kind of like a time traveler because you'd watch him get the football and every moment that he did, he was electric. You could tell he was different. Now, he didn't work out at the NFL level, but whatever.
Wait, Reggie Bush didn't work out at the NFL level?
He didn't work out to the same degree that he did at the college level.
Impossible bar. But he was a successful NFL running back for a number of years. Was he not?
How
many years did he play in the NFL? Did he play till he was 30?
He played for a while. He probably played until he was 30.
I think he's a success story. Not a superstar, but a success story.
Right. Reggie Bush did not end up being worth all of the ink that was spilled about taking Mario Williams first. Okay, because Mario Williams ended up being a better pick in the long run. But we can argue that on another episode.
Thoughts, but yeah.
My only point is just that at the college level, Reggie Bush looked like he was from a different planet, different generation.
Mm-hmm.
His athleticism was unrivaled. Now everybody's that athletic. Right?
Well,
you brought that up.
No.
Defenses are just better.
I think Reggie Bush would thrive in 2022.
Probably.
I think those
he was playing 2022 era football back in 2005.
Exactly. He was ahead of his time.
Yeah.